What do we have here? It's a CH knife. It's a CH 3504 in titanium with a cool skull face. Is it cheesy too? Yeah, it's a little cheesy, but it's a cool half of a skull, like the other half. You know, if you had another half, would be here, but it's a half skull. That's what I'm calling it, the half skull. The blade steel is S35VN, which is nice. I mean, on a fairly budgety knife. I think, I don't know what these cost new. I bet it was probably a little over 100, but when I got it used, but barely used. I think he just mostly had it sitting on his counter, or on his whatever dresser or something. And I think I paid 85 or something for it. So under 100 for titanium with bearings, S35VN, a really nice handle shape. I mean, this is a great handle shape. It's very close to what you would say perfect. Very nice pocket clip. The pocket clip works great. I'm not sure if these the pivot and the pivot bolt, I'm not sure if they really kind of match with the rest of the aesthetic, but don't care that much. Looks nice. Blade, very well done. Tumbled finish. Very broad blade. It came pretty sharp. It looks like it's been sharpened, probably stropped a few times, maybe once or twice. Oh, I added this thumb stud. It's one of those add a stud things you can get on Amazon. The action on this guy is pretty great. It's almost drop shutty. Might be drop shut with a little oil. Now it has a little bit of a double clutch, so if I drop the blade here and I stop it there, now I could let it go past that, and now it doesn't have a double clutch, but if I let it just fall a little bit and I let off on the lock, now it's stuck on the detent. Okay, so from here to here, that's how far you get before it hits the detent. Now the cool thing is though, it's kind of a heavy blade, so you just give it like a little shove and it drops down. It doesn't usually bounce back into lock. Now there it just did, but I kind of tried to get it to bounce back into lock. There we go. Now if I give it a good shake though, it usually goes down, which is good. Not too bad. What is one negative of this thing? I don't love this little flipper tab. Why don't I love the flipper tab? It's slippery. It's all rounded and nice, and definitely doesn't cut you or anything like that, that's for sure. But what happens more is your finger slips off. Now it's not too hard to just give it a little extra forward pressure when you're pulling it, and then it doesn't mess up. But they could have given a little texture there, like just some rough, have the metal be rough. You wouldn't even necessarily need to have knurling or anything across there, but if they just left it rough, flat across there, and maybe at a little bit different angle, like that angle, instead of this real high angle. But that's a pretty minor problem, really. It's not even a problem. It's just a personal preference. They could have used some jimping across there. That's about really. The angle is just a personal preference, but some jimping across there would have been nice. What else? Anything else negative about this guy? The centering, I think the pivot's a tad loose. I bet you if I tighten this pivot up, it'll go back to center. It's a hair off, biased away from the lock bar. Let's see. Because I think it's actually a tad loose. Let's see now. Is it loose? So here's how you check if a knife has a loose pivot. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. So you bring it out to where it's almost locked, and then you press the lock bar, and then you can wobble it back and, oh, nope, not loose. But I might have adjusted it without even knowing it. Let's see. I think I did, because the centering is better now. So I think Even though I didn't feel it turn, I think it turned just a tiny fraction when I was messing with it, and now it has no play. I think it probably did before, just a tiny bit. Let's take this thing apart, because I've carried it a bunch, and it's got a lot of dust and junk in there. I mean, look at that. That's not pretty, is it? No. Look at this right here. Here. You see that? Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, look here. It's good. It's ugly. Yeah, let's get this guy cleaned out. What can we do here? What do we got? We got T8s all the way around, except on the clip. The clip's T6s, I think, but I'm not taking that off anyway, which is a really nice feature, actually. The clip, which works well, stays on even when you're taking off the scales or the frame. So all you have to do is bolt, 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 and it's off, and you can leave the clip on, which is nice. So many knives have a clip that's integrated into the bolts that hold on, well, everything, so that when you, wow, that is a dirty ass bolt. Look at that thing. What do we got here? What is this? Some kind of O-ring or something? Wow, that is new to me. It's got an O-ring. I've never seen a knife with an O-ring. Surprise, surprise. Okay. So the O-ring probably is kind of like a lock washer, so that as this O-ring gets squished down, it'll keep the bolt from backing out, which is nice. Okay, let's get these other ones. Wow, that came off so easy. Very nice. Let's look inside here. What do we got? We got a very dirty little washer that doesn't want to come out, although it feels loose. Well, you know what? I can just clean it in there. I don't even need to get it out, really. I'll clean it up, put a little fresh oil on it. Wow, look at that dirty mess. That is basically horrific. What a dirt monster. Okay, so we're going to get this guy up off of here. Let's unlock him, get him off. Bearings are on there correctly, but wow, they are dirty. Let me get a paper towel here. All right, let's get this guy cleaned up. We'll hit this side first. Let's get out here. We're going to get back on. Downstairs again. Let's get out here. Possible. Boy, that thing is tight in there, which is good. And it's got a washer, or it's got a O-ring on the other side. This is, I just never seen that before, an O-ring as some kind of a lock washer type thing. All right, we'll get this guy cleaned up. Wow, that is dirty. Jeez. Here's your back spacer. Very nice. I like it. Comes right off of there, but we're just going to leave it on because it's sitting on these two little posts here that are still screwed on here. So we're just going to leave that guy on here. Oh, something just fell out. Oh, it's a lock bar. Or sorry, blade stop. There's your blade stop right there. Clean that up a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. No reason not to, though. That guy back in there. All right, we still got this bearing set here. Both bearing sets are still dirty. Boy, that is a dirty, dirty mess. They had some thick, nasty oil going on in there. The oil's so thick it won't come out. Boy, that is nasty. Nicely done in there. Nicely polished up where the bearings ride inside the blade. Let's hit this one. So to clean these bearings, I just get the rag all oiled up, paper towel oiled up, and then just kind of rub the bearing between the two sides. As you can see, now the towel's all gross because it's pretty much gotten the oil, old oil and dirt and grease out of there. Okay. Did we get this guy? Yeah, he's pretty clean. So I think this guy's ready to go back together. Clean off some of this excess oil inside. Put a drop of oil right in that detent hole. And clean up the rest. Okay. Bring the pivot in from this side. I think that's the side it was. Whoop, I knocked that. So there's that little washer, whatever you want to call it, that the bearing's right on. Boy, that thing is tight on there. That is not playing. That is some very, very tight. Very tight. Huh, okay. Hopefully it's all the way on. I think if I didn't get that washer all the way down there, it might jam up. Because it's that, the tolerances are that close on this guy. I'm not sure if they meant them to be that close of tolerances, but they are. All right, so the bearings, usually you're going to do it, the open side of that race, you're going to put it toward wherever the cutout is. So this isn't really a cutout. This is fairly flat across here. Once the washer has brought it up, it's about flat with the rest. But this on the blade is a pretty deep cutout, so the bearing is going to want to sit this way, open side toward the cutout. So we put the open side facing up, right? Once we put the blade on, that's going to make it go up into that cutout. Well, that's still a little dirty inside there. I'm going to clean out that other side. I bet this thing is going to have a little better action now. Just put one drop in here. Clean off the excess. Put the other bearing in, same way. Well, open side down. Let's clean out this inside of this guy one more time. You don't want a lot of oil just sitting around the inside of your knife because it attracts dirt and makes dirt stick to it. You want only the oil where it's really needed on the bearings. And on the detent ball. A little bit on that detent ball is nice. Now there's already some in the detent hole. Alright, so the other side is cleaned off. What else do we need to do? I think that's pretty much it. Let's get this guy stuck together, which goes together really nice. You know what I forgot? The O-rings. I jacked that up. We'll edit that out. Okay, that's pretty so. Okay, let's try it again. Now I got that O-ring down there where it's supposed to be. And that guy's there where he's supposed to be. And we're going to pop this guy back on here where he's supposed to be. This is probably one of the nicest knives to pop back together that I've messed with. I say that right as everything doesn't pop back together like it's supposed to. Which, that's annoying, but there we go. Now it's together. That's just how it's supposed to be. Alright, so we're going to bring the blade down here. Alright, we're going to put this O-ring back in here. Which is weird, but hey, that's how they did it. We're going to get this guy started. And we're going to tighten him up. Not too tight before we get the other screws in. Alright, so we got these two guys. Are they the same length? Yes. If they were different lengths, we need to make sure we were putting the right one in the right place. Alright, we'll fast forward through this because this is the boring part. All right, so we're tightening up this pivot now. We don't want to go too tight. Let's see. A little bit more. Boy, this guy's oily. It's going to take a little cleaning off after this is done. Still a little bit of wobble, so we tighten it up a little more. A little more. So as we're tightening this down, we're squashing that O-ring down, and that's going to lock it in and keep it from getting loose again. Okay. Whoopsie, trying to knock the whole thing apart here. How's that centering now? It's close. I'm going to say it's still a tiny bit off. Now, is it tight? The blade is tight. So, that little bit of off-center, I could probably remedy with the old loosen everything up and pull the blade the opposite way trick. But it's not bothering me that much. It's so close. We're going to call it good. So, there's the quick review and then disassembly and cleaning of the CH3504 titanium half skull thingamajigger. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day. So here's that CH half skull knife today, coming to you live from Jamaica. Been anodized by Colin Finigan, polished up by me. Look at that clip. I think it's crazy. The guy does a great job. Him and Bear Bishop are my two guys I go to for anodizing. Polished up the blade a little bit, especially where it runs on its bearings and where it runs on its detent, and it's a little more drop shutty than it was. So that's it. Have a nice day.